It's I one of the things you had written, and this is different topic, a different article that you had written, and I'm just going to read a little chunk of it because I love it. Here we go. This is about being on the farm with your now. This is when you just had your one daughter.
First, yeah.
Here we go. My garden helper turns 1 year old this week. I remember when life was simpler, when I could work in the garden all day uninterrupted, when I could sleep when I wanted and be out of the house by the early morning. But I didn't laugh nearly as much. My heart wasn't as large. I was more selfish. These days are slow, this baby and I. There are so many little breaks we take, things we get distracted by, things that must be learned. I feel lucky to accomplish 1 or 2 small tasks in a day now. That is enough, though. We manage. There is nowhere she would rather be than in the garden. Makes me happy to see her dirt-streaked face smile. I have gotten past everything having to be clean. Let a child be a little wild. Let her experience the taste of dirt, the feel of leaves, mud, and water. Let her grow in the garden like an artichoke, rambunctious and beautiful. She laughs out loud, throwing her head back to point at the birds. She squeals with delight when she gets a hold of the cat and crawls like mad to get out of the way of the sprinkler. This is nothing that can be replaced by toys, nothing that can be learned from books or videos, parks or playgrounds. This is my sweet child, sweet as the honeysuckle blossom, dirt and all. Lots of good stuff bringing those kids up on the farm.
Yeah.
And continuing down that and kind of bringing it up to the present, you wrapped up the article that you wrote about abuse, and you kind of talked about where you're at now. And I'm gonna hit that. The person that I am now, I'm fairly proud of, considering. I carry very few scars from my past other than the physical ones that are carved into my skin. I am comfortable talking about abuse. I can look at pictures of my abuser and feel very little. I am married to a kind and courageous hero of a man. I've built up a beautiful farm. I've got 2 amazing young children who I will protect with my life. Which is really where this story begins. The children. Look around you, please. Look at your own children and other children that you see. Look at your friends and relatives and watch their interactions closely. We fear so many ridiculous things in life, but we don't fear the most common dangers to children nearly enough. We like to think of child molesters as strangers, not the people we know and let into our lives daily. Stay vigilant. Trust your gut instinct if something seems off. Remember, even very young children can keep tremendous secrets. This is uncomfortable. But sometimes uncomfortable things need to be handled head on until they no longer have the power that secrecy and silence gives them. Thanks for listening. Please share and keep the children safe. And we've talked through some of this, but I kind of want to just, you kind of laid out, and you've talked about it already, just in what we've discussed so far, but I think it's worth covering again from your perspective, your thoughts on how to keep children safe and some of the things to watch out for and some of the things to do. Here we go. I think the best answer is talk about uncomfortable topics early and often. Don't just have the talk with kids. Talk to them on a regular basis about their bodies, sex, predators, consent. If they never hear you talk about it, it's going to be harder for them to bring it up to you. I know communication is difficult in many families. Remember, it's not up to the kids to do it. As an adult, you have to initiate hard conversations regularly. Don't ever assume your kid is too young for something to have happened to them. It can literally happen in a few minutes with a friend or family member when you are out of the room. Ask them if they've ever been touched inappropriately or in a way that made them feel uncomfortable. Then ask them again and again a few days later. Bring it up casually the second time. Hey, I was thinking some more about that conversation we had the other day. Give them time to process and decide if they can handle telling you. Do not push kids to hug and kiss people if they are resistant to it, even family members. This is a topic that they should be familiar discussing with you. Everyone treats it like it's this dark secret that we can't talk about. That makes kids feel like they can't talk about it either. Take every opportunity to bring it up in conversation, a news story, a Facebook post, a friend dealing with issues. Talk about what's going on and why. We may think that we are doing our kids a favor by keeping this horrible stuff from them, but the statistics and the women who have spoken out here prove that most likely your child or grandchild will have to deal with it alone if you aren't proactive. If you have 4 female children or grandchildren or nieces, chances are at least one has or will be molested. Some kids just will not talk no matter what. Be observant, and if anything ever seems slightly off, follow your gut instinct. If a child or teen tells you they haven't been touched or molested, don't take their word for it. Kids can be amazingly good at keeping secrets. And that's, I think, it's just a great list for people to think about, to put into action, and really a great example to live by so that you can be aware if this stuff ever happens.
Yeah. I want the subjects to be normalized a lot more than it is. It's a horrible thing to talk about, and it's hard to talk to your kids about it, but we have to make it more normal, not only for kids, but for the millions of adults that are out there who've been through it and still don't talk about it. When I first posted what you read, I posted on Facebook, and I had a ton of people send me private messages telling me their own horrible stories. People that I knew, people that were friends of friends, people that I didn't know at all. And I was shocked by a few of the people that I knew who had horrible stories. Kids that I went to high school with that I knew during the time that their abuse was also going on told me some things. And everyone just deals with it and doesn't feel like they can talk about it. And it's not right. And so I hope that my coming on here and bringing this to light and being the person that I am and saying, hey, let's have an honest conversation about this will help someone else, even if 1 or 2 other people decide that they can change their life for the better because they hear someone addressing this honestly, or 1 or 2 other people look at their kids and the interaction that their neighbor or their friend or their grandpa, uncle, somebody has with their kids and realizes that there's something not quite right, then everything that I've been through is worth it because I will have used my experiences to help someone else.
Yeah.